Libra. Alright, so we're doing extended readings for everyone, and that is cool for you guys because of the cardinal cross energy. So you're going to have energy to take care of things that are not usually as easy for you. Things where maybe you get stuck a little bit, where your scales get a little too much to one side and you feel that imbalance. Right now you have energy surging through all those opposites, so you're able to really balance things out. And later in the reading I'll show you my chart and you'll see what I mean. But for now, let's see what cards come up, and let's see just what the general energies that are going on for you this month. I just feel like you guys are for real fed up. Like, there's a situation that's just not going to change. It's just not going to change. And no matter what you try to put into it, you aren't able to justify it anymore. This could be something that has to do with your sense of value, because you have Cancer in your house of work. So like that sense of appreciation. First card out, Five of Cups. A card that generally comes after a hard decision. Almost being afraid to make the decision so you don't have to feel that way, maybe? Does that make sense? Standing on the precipice of something. And then Two of Cups and the Leo card, the Strength card. Being... I think there's like a tiny fly or something in it. Something keeps touching my shoulder. Being in... Sorry about that. That was just going to annoy me the whole time, so I just have to take care of it. So the next two cards that came up were the Two of Cups and the Strength card. So Libra, it's not a secret that you've been dealing with a while with this idea of feeling like you need to compete with a fire sign, and perhaps specifically a Leo. But for me, what comes up here is just a fire sign, someone that you felt was trying to take what was yours. And then this idea of if you leave the situation, what happens to you financially. And the bottom of the deck, before I started shuffling again, was that card of deceit, right? So, what is this? And then this Magician really wants to, yeah, and this, all right. So this idea of being lied to by an earth sign, we've come across this a few times now in these readings. You're still dealing with that issue and not knowing how to move forward, because I think as the Magician and the Page of Pentacles coming up together implies, this person is fooling you, lying to you, distracting you, making you think something when really you know in your gut that it's something else. And I think now you get to the point where you're just like, you may feel more bold. This card also applies to you. You may feel more bold in terms of just saying it how it is. You know what I mean? Like, listen, I know that there's something else going on, or I know that your affections aren't 100% with me, or whatever it is, I know what it is. And so, you know, just be straight with me. You may find yourself taking those sort of emotional risks, because right now you're doing an interplay. There's an interplay in your life between Jupiter being in your sign and really giving you an uncharacteristic sort of gutsiness. You know, when Jupiter is in your sign, you are very much your sign. So for example, my Jupiter is in Gemini and I am a Gemini. So I am very much a Gemini. Big personality, big, you know, people. broad-shouldered, right? Like just take up a lot of room in terms of their aura, but also physically, right? So Jupiter in your sign, you feel like being more expansive, and one of the roadblocks to being that is this feeling that you're stuck with, where you're still kind of regretting how things have gone. And I think the reason you don't want to turn around and look at those 2 cups is because I don't think that you like what's standing in front of you either. You know, if what's standing in front of you is the same old like story of how this person loves you, but they're not going to treat you like they love you, why turn around at all? What's the point? What's the use? Right? Now, is there another way to read it? Sure. 5 of Cups to 2 of Cups to the Strength card. Let's look at it. And you can look at it with me as we pull some outcome cards. All right. And then we'll go into the extended reading. Okay. I just killed another fly. That's so gross. Sorry about that. Summer in Denmark. So, this is pretty, you know, if we were to go back and look at the readings for you guys, I think that we've seen this before. Not exactly the same setup, but all right. And then 9 of Pentacles, 2 of Swords, the Hermit. 9 of Swords is the bottom of the deck. All right. I think you're trying to figure out what it looks like if you cut this situation off, whether it's a job or a meant to be friendship or a relationship that you need to get out of, or a mindset that you've been in. I never realized that this is the card of, I'll show you these in a second. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you. I never realized that this was a card of the serpent goddess re-emerging from her garden, or quite comfortable in her garden. I didn't realize that this is the Eve archetype. Now that I do, I understand why it's coming up here. Because this person is keenly aware of their value. And I think what you're caught between now is understanding and knowing your value, but somehow needing to keep this to yourself and in the dark and out of your public or real life, and keep it in, you know, until you start to just go like all kinds of nuts and in every direction, or you just stand completely still. But we'll look at those. That's one of the fun things also that we'll do in the extended readings, is we'll like pick these cards apart and see why and who and why does the Hermit keep coming up. You know, in every reading, why does the Hermit keep coming up? What is it about that Virgo energy that's working on us right now? Well, here for you, both these cards are about security. And I think what they denote, I think this interplay between is about, now notice also the duality, okay? I think this is an interplay between your material security, because remember, you've got this cardinal cross energy. So your security, one of the houses that's activated in this cardinal cross, has to do with your sense of security. This is a card of security, material security. Okay? And then on the other hand, you have your inner spiritual life. There's the externality and what you will do to provide this externality and what makes you feel like this kind of safety, where you know you're surrounded by money and all the things that you want. And then there's the Hermit, who doesn't have any of those things and doesn't need any of those things because what they're doing is deeply meaningful. Okay? Both these energies are activated for you this month astrologically. So it's interesting that they come up. This is your need for security. This is having Capricorn in the 4th house. This is what is most important about what I do. What value am I really providing? What rules that house for you? Cancer. Meaning. You want meaning. This is someone who is constantly searching for meaning. Not just for themselves, but bearing the light for others. A real purpose, a real calling. And here you are, stuck between, perhaps if you were much younger, or coming out of a retirement, needing to go back to work, or coming out of a marriage, if you find yourself having to reinvent, you may be standing at this crossroads at a Libra and weighing this out and thinking, which one of these do I give more weight to? Which one do I live through right now? I have such a choice to make. And I always like to point out to Libras that if you get this card in your reading, it's because your scales have become the weights around your ankles. Okay? Because remember, Libra, this woman is not bound. Nothing is holding her. She has no ties on her wrists. She has nothing. She's not bound in any way. The only thing that binds her are the thoughts that she will not stop deliberating. And how unfortunate, because it's during a new moon where everything is aligned, and if she wanted, she has great power to manifest what she wants. But instead, she's locked in this power struggle between her thoughts and weighing something out. When in fact, all she has to do to take the blindfold off and see very clearly and not be held hostage by these thoughts is to just put the swords down, and then she has 2 free hands to take off the bandage. And she also can use the fact that she's unbound to turn around and face what is the boundless sea. And what's the boundless sea? The boundless sea is the realm of all opportunity and possibility. A card of having literally everything behind you, access to everything that you need for whatever you would want, and yet turning your back on it and sitting in an almost victimized pose as if something is being done to you. But really, it is your own thoughts that are victimizing you. And why? Because you believe the wrong person. But don't forget, this is also a card of manifestation. This is also a card of manifesting what you want. I think there is a need this month for you to take on this energy and get stuff done. Because I don't think you'll be able to feel this level of self-esteem if you don't start getting some stuff done and manifesting the things you want. But how do you manifest the things you want and make something meaningful when you don't have the right people around you? You need to be less and less and less in this energy and more out here making connections with people and not relying on the connections you already have. You need to be taking control of this Leo energy. You know what this Leo energy is here? This is Mars in Leo. This is that push to do stuff instead of being stuck in your mind. Oh, it's open to you. This can very easily be turned around. You see? If you apply the right energy to it. In the same way, is the Page of Pentacles quite such a bad card if we're looking at the Magician in a different way? Could this be an earth sign that's helping you manifest something towards your work and money situation and your security? Absolutely. Absolutely it could. But if this is someone you're emotionally attached to or emotionally trying to sort out, then they come up here as someone who is playing games with you and distracting you. And this may be one of the problems, one of the swords that you're holding. Interesting to note that regardless of how different the two swords are, they affect each other because you have to hold the weight of both. Never forget that when you start piling stuff on your scales, Libra, that whatever you're doing over here, realize that whatever you take on double, because your mind is going to duplicate it to even it out somehow. So you got to be really careful about what you take on, right? This month is about what is it worth after feeling disappointment and needing to cut the strings on situations and not knowing if you have the self-esteem or the wherewithal to make it outside of that. After you come out of that energy, if you're already, if you say, well, I'm a few weeks early, or I already did that a few months ago, if you're out of that energy, what do you fill the next part of your life up with? Where are these meaningful connections coming from? Once you're fed up, I get it. Your self-esteem is either high enough that you're fed up and you leave, or you're so miserable that you end up leaving. I often say this is the worst card in the deck, not the Ten of Swords, because at least the Ten of Swords, the person's dead. This is the person who's not dead, but they're not alive either. They're completely in their misery. And this is not what you want coloring your month. So I think as this cardinal energy kicks in for you, you come to this place of feeling done, but then you have this empty sort of feeling. Yeah, you're tired of how it's been, but now you have this empty sort of, notebook in front of you, and what do you fill it up with? And that can be a little jarring, right? So that's where I would kind of leave things, just needing to work with that energy and staying away from people who are distracting you and focusing in on how to make a real map of where you want to go in the next 6 months, because the way this plays out for you, the way you make these connections and what you leave behind and what you're able to accomplish and get done and what you are able to put down and walk away from, all of this determines how you walk into next month's eclipse. Okay? So now I would end the reading here, and we would go on to the extended reading, which you'd go to my website and then you could get it from there. All right, so keeping these cards on the table, the first thing I would do for the extended reading is inform some of these cards, and then I'll show you my notes and a chart about the cardinal cross and how this energy is affecting you, in what aspects of your chart it's affecting you. So the first thing I'd want to clarify here is this Five of Cups. What is this situation that's making you feel so despondent and so sad? And okay, you understand that it's over, but it just sucks that so much that you don't even want to turn around, this weight of the world kind of thing. What did this? What is this about? Is it over? Is it still going on? What's the deal? So let's see. A lot of times, I feel like when you have the full moon in the 4th house, there is this feeling of the the Five of Cups, where you're just like, I'm fed up. I felt miserable for so long. I'm fed up. And it is something about having Mars as a powerful placement this month, because it is your house of work, and also just, the way people view you, So what is this what is this energy that you're dealing with? Well, so far it looks like it's something that really brought out the aggressive side of you. And that's part of what you feel so bad about, is that you didn't act in a typically Libra way. It's something that really brought out the righteous indignation in you. And oh, surprise, surprise, it was in regard to a fire sign who was lying to you and made you kind of shut yourself away from the world. That's why I said I don't think it's just a Leo. I think it's either a Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. And it's someone who really made you feel very aggressively towards them because it was kind of, finally made very clear to you that that person has been lying to you. And, and it's made you want to hide. So this is, what you're coming out of, what we've been talking about for months, that same situation where someone was really messing with your partner or messing with you at work or somehow really, taking your power from you. And now that situation is over. But I think it's kind of like, yeah, but how much did it cost me? How much was it ultimately worth to expose this person or expose this lie for what it really is? Because look where it's gotten me. So you're kind of like, oh, really? You want me to go from 4 of Swords to 2 of Cups? You want me to get out there and just start like making connections and, be a Leo? Look at what it says here. Hold on, I'll do so you can screenshot. Hi. Go for it. So you see here, it says, make meaningful connections like a Leo. So Mars in Cancer, Mercury in Leo. How do I say it? It's not even like you're done. It's like, it's not right. Like, this is a card of like, you're pushing me to this. It's not right. Like, why do you have to do it in this way where you're making me, remember, part of what's going on with the Cardinal Cross is that your relationships are under the influence of this Uranus, like, I want rules. And I think because this part of you is being activated, you're saying, you want to enforce the rules like an Aries, which is like, that's not right. I'm not tolerating this anymore. And I think when that energy is activated in your relationships, if you've been tolerating something for a while, maybe even, 4 or 5 years, you're done with it. You're done with it. You can't handle it anymore. And so it is an interplay. It is a balancing act between Libra being under the influence of Jupiter, which is making you be like, I can take risks. I can stand on my own. I can do this on my own. And balancing that with what's right in a relationship and what's allowed. What is someone allowed to do to me and what are they not allowed to do to me? What are they allowed to put me through and what's too far? And so these energies are going to back and forth, balance themselves out. But I feel like by the time you get to August, you should have this figured out already. You shouldn't be waiting until you have. So it says here, eclipse in the 5th house. Eclipse in the 5th house is really going to ask you, what I have written down here is, are you ready to be happy again? If you let yourself get depressed right now because of what's going on and because of what you have to deal with, which is that 5 of Cups energy. So now I'm shuffling because I want to know more about this Hermit card. And I also want to know more about this 2 of Swords. So the eclipse is going to be about you being able to ask for what you want clearly. And if you're in a place of being really depressed because you didn't take care of the situation and instead you let it get to you, and once again you didn't say anything and you didn't take any action, by the time you get to the eclipse next month, you're going to be miserable. You know what you're going to attract if you're miserable. More misery. So the Hermit card here, if you're dealing, Libra, with a Virgo, especially right now, if that person is making you feel like you're not meaningful in their life, if they're not making you feel safe, you feel like they're embarrassing to you, if you feel like they're not following the rules of a relationship. And then a lot more fire cards here. So let's take this back down and you can see what's just come up. 6 of Wands, the Sun, 4 of Pentacles, Page of Swords, King of Wands, Page of Wands. So there's other people involved in this situation, older people, parental figures who are not helping, who are making the situation worse. It's almost like they don't want you to succeed in this. This could also be a boss. These are all things that are happening, so you will get fed up. So you will take risks, because when you have when you have Jupiter in your first house, it wants you to be risky. It wants you to be almost reckless, right? So these situations are going to happen that are going to push you to be like, should I quit my job? Should I tell my in-laws to go F themselves? Like, what do I need to do here? Whatever this is, right? And why? Because you have this push coming in where you really want to expand. And this is the expansive Libran energy, not this. Of course, this is never you. You don't like this, and you don't like being pushed by other people's bad and deceitful behavior to be like this. You'd much rather be this kinder, gentler, youthful version of yourself who's just out here learning things, doing things, communicating, traveling, right? Like enjoying, making things nice. Like this is what you want to be doing. And instead, the situation has had you in a really tight spot where you've been really, really tense. And now, I think what the cards are asking is you can walk into that victory and you can have the sun before you and have all that good luck. But again, this is the Leo card. A lot of fire, just like overtaking your reading. I think this Leo figure or this fire sign figure really messed with your sense of confidence. Like you feel like they took something from you or something. You feel like they're actively trying to take what's yours or something. And the cards are saying it's nothing like that. This success is for you. It is put aside for you. If anything, the cards are using that Leo symbology again to be like, there's no difference between you and that person. You guys are blessed with the same. The sun shines on everything and everyone evenly. Okay? And so why? Why does this come up this way? Because what's the tendency within the Libra? The Libra has this tendency to stall. No, I'm just not going to make a decision. I'm just going to sit here and hold on to what I have and just sit here. Stall. This is when the Libra is afraid. This is when the Libra is unafraid and full of love. You get to choose now how you walk into the eclipses in August. These next 4 weeks, you're going to have to take on one of these energies. We already know that if you gravitate this way, come on, you've got the planet of love, the planet that rules you, the planet of love is in Gemini. It's in Gemini. You will be able to get across whatever you want. You'll be able to love and fall in love and all of that if you give in to that love energy and be confident. But if you want to stick to what you have and what's in the past and what was done to you and how bad you feel about it and still seeking this sort of vengeance / violence / aggression towards this person, of course, because of their bad behavior, but still, regardless of what the reasonings, you have to remember that if you feel this way, it is as much your prison as the other person's, right? So you can stick to that energy. And what that's going to do, it's just going to keep that person, that fire sign around. Sure, they'll be diminished somehow, but you're fighting them in and of itself is drawing attention to them. Or you can just go and do your own thing. You can come out of this period of contemplation that this horrendous situation sent you into, and you can emerge as this very strong person who is out there, doing things with their interests and traveling and experiencing and feeling victorious and having good luck shining on them, you can embody this energy, or you can stick to what you've been doing and keep this persistent, almost, magnetized to you energy so you guys can stay in this miserable loop. And why? Why would this be the test? Well, first of all, let's pull an outcome card for what you have to focus on for next month in August when you have the eclipse in your 5th house. What I have written down here is don't get depressed. Sorry, I don't know why I have to keep killing these flies. It's so weird. I guess it's the time of year. So what I have written down is don't let yourself get depressed. But now let's see what the cards say in terms of what energy you should be working with all of July so that the eclipse goes super easy for you and you've done all, the grimy work and push through all those projects that you need to push through before the Mercury retrograde at the beginning of August. Like, once you've done all that, and I've also written here, because you're going to have Mars moving into your 11th, as well as the Sun, as well as a new moon, that's when you have the most power to do something. And what I have written down here is you should be using that time to map out a real purpose. So, mapping out a real purpose with an eye to what? Let's see what the cards say. Let's see if there is some specific road we should be following in terms of mapping out that purpose. Well, first of all, obviously, leaving stuff behind that isn't good for us. Ooh, well, look at here. New love, moving on to love, moving into love, new horizons with love. Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. And this is the Gemini card. Venus is in Gemini. You see, it's all aligning. It's all aligning. It totally makes sense, right? So, let's tie this all together. First of all, let me tell you what I forgot to tell you at the beginning of the reading, which is that my North Node is in Libra. So, what do these cards mean for eclipse in the 5th house? Remember what I wrote here? Are you ready to be happy again? What do we need to focus on? So what is it? 3 of Wands and the Lover's card. The 3 of Wands is about taking the things that work and realizing that there are things that don't work, putting those things away, and making the internal decision that you will move on to something better with what you do possess that you know will work better. Because by its very nature, it has to, because what you're around, it doesn't work. And so anything out there has got to be better. And I think Libra has gotten to that point in a lot of relationships where they're looking around and they're saying, it's got to be better than this. It has to be better than this. I've avoided for so long not taking this new, let me approach a new horizon in terms of love. And now, the cards say, if you take this trip, if you in your mind, make this departure and want something better for yourself, that better thing, the best thing in terms of love, is waiting for you. So you can map out a real purpose right now. That's what I wrote next to, Mars, the Sun, the new moon. The new moon is always when things are the most powerful and you can get the most done. So mapping out a purpose as a sign that's ruled by Venus, part of your purpose will always be to be in love and to be in a fruitful, equal relationship, right? And I think right now you get the chance to really map that out in your head. And what does that look like? And what do you want to do with that? And who would you ideally want to fill that role? Not specifics to people, but more an abstract. You see, this person isn't venturing out looking for a specific that he definitely needs to find. This is someone who is open, who has enough within himself that he's not searching for anything he needs. He's going to take the time to find what he wants. You see? It's very positive. And it makes up, and here, another card of leaving. And what's under the card of leaving? The Seven of Swords, a card of deceit. And under that, the Seven of Wands. And under that, the Queen of Swords. Okay? And under that, the Three of Swords. So once again, mapping out that same story. You were made to be really harsh and having to lay down the law because you thought you were over it and that you had emotionally won this battle, but no, more deceit, more lying, and so finally you had to leave. Either emotionally or physically, you're getting to the point where you're like, I am, look what it says here, full moon in the 4th house. Fed up enough to consider a risk. And what the cards are saying is if you consider the risk, you will do really, really well because you will find what you have been missing. So that's the extended reading. It's kind of cool, right? Let's see. I'm going to do a block party. Elma and I from Queen of Swords, the girl who does my hair and has a salon in Bushwick, we're going to do a block party in August. If you would like to know more about it, please visit the Strange Ramblings page. Also, tickets for the Oakland dates for the first 3 weeks of October, the first 3 Thursdays are still up. You can still buy those. And I'm still doing personal readings right now, but you have to wait a while. The wait is like at least 9 to 10 days right now, unless you're doing an emergency reading. Either way, you can reach me through email. As of next month, the extended readings will be like through a service that you pay for. Okay, now what else was there? I'm still wearing the mala by Cynthia that she made for me, and I really do feel like it's having a really great effect on me, and I feel much calmer because energy isn't just like getting to me. It's like bouncing off of this thing and kind of being filtered first, and it's just it's a great feeling. So I'll leave her information below. I'll leave Elma's information below. I get my hair cut, and she's also the one that colored my hair. So if you like it and you're into it, it's the best haircut I've ever gotten. I'm so into it. So I'll leave her information below as well. And I'll leave my Instagram, my Snap, and Twitter because those are the easiest ways to get in touch with me. All right, Libra, I hope you liked this extended look. I really like doing the reading this way, so I'm really looking forward to the monthlies this way. All right, I love you guys.